Welcome to Bethel Online Education Hub. Learn anytime, anywhere. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Let's learn together, the Bethel way.
Good day, everyone. Today, we will explore a topic that lies at every core of how societies are organized: social and political stratification. In every community, people are grouped and ranked based on their factors, such as wealth, power, education, and prestige. This ranking is not just about individual differences. It shapes our opportunities, our roles, and even our life chances. Social stratification explains why some individuals have more access to resources than others, while political stratification focus on how power and authority are distributed among different groups in society. By understanding this system, we gain insight into how inequality develops, how it is maintained, and how it can be challenged. So, as we begin this lesson, let's ask ourselves, where do we stand in these social and political hierarchies, and how they affect our everyday lives? What is social and political stratification? First, social stratification is a separation of people into different social categories. And these categories are ranked from higher to lower based on the factors like wealth, power, prestige, or access to resources. It is not simply about differences. It is about hierarchy. This means that some groups enjoy more privilege and opportunities, while others face more limitations. While political stratification refers to the unequal distribution of political powers and influences within a society. This determines who makes decisions, who set the rules, and how has the authority to enforce them. It often overlaps with social stratification. Those with higher status frequently have greater political influence. There are different characteristics of social stratification. First, it is social. Social stratification is created and maintained by society. It is not a result of natural differences, but, but of social values, traditions, and institutions. Social stratification is created and maintained by society itself. It is not based purely on physical or biological differences, but on the values, tradition, and institutions that people uphold. For example, a social society might value certain professions, like doctors or engineers, more than others, leading to a higher status for those jobs because it is socially constructed. The categories and ranking can be changed over time as society values change. Next characteristic is it is ancient. This system has existed for thousands of years, from ancient kingdom and caste system to modern societies. Even the earliest civilization had rulers, warriors, merchants, and laborers. Social stratification has exist for thousands of years. Even the earliest human societies had systems of ranking such as rulers, warriors, placed above farmer and laborers. In ancient India, the caste system divided people into fixed groups based on birth. In medieval Europe, feudalism ranked people from kings and nobles down to peasants and serfs. This shows that the idea of ranking people has been part of human civilization for as long as history can remember. The third characteristic it is universal. Every societies, past and present, have some forms of stratification. While the categories may differ, the idea of ranking people is found everywhere. All societies, past and present, have form of stratification. The criteria for ranking may vary, but the concept of hierarchy exists everywhere. In modern societies, economic class is a major basis for ranking. In some traditional societies, it might be lineage, clan, or even religious affiliation. The universal nature of stratification shows that it is a fundamental feature of social life. Next characteristic, it is in diverse form. Stratification can take different forms depending on the structure and history of society. First, class, based on wealth, income, and occupation. Next in caste, fixed social position by birth. Race or ethnicity, ranking based on perceived racial or ethnic values. And other social factors, religion, age, education, or even place of origin. Different societies mix these factors in unique ways, which is why stratification look different across culture. Next other characteristic it is consequential. Stratification has a powerful impact on people's life. Your position in the hierarchy can influence the quality of education you receive, the kind of job you can get, your political influence and representation, your access to healthcare and life expectancy. Being in a higher category can provide more opportunities, while being in a lower category can limit them. This is why understanding stratification is important. It reveals how inequality affects our everyday life. Now, let's talk about the indicators of social stratification. Social stratification can be identified and measured through several key indicators. These indicators show how individuals or groups are ranked in a society and how much access they have to resources and opportunities. First is the status. A status is a person's social position in society. It tells other where an individual stand in the society. There are two class of status. The first is the ascribed status. These are positions assigned at birth or given involuntarily. They are based on factors you cannot control, such as family background, ethnicity, gender, or place of birth. Example, birth or being born into a royal family, being male or female, or being part of a specific ethnic group. Next is the achieved status. These are positions a person's earn or chooses through their actions, skills, and efforts. They are based on personal achievements, education, and career success. For example, becoming a lawyer, winning an Olympic medal, or earning a university degree. Now, let's talk about power, another indicators. Power is the ability to influence or control the action of others, even against resistance. People with power can make decisions, set rules, and enforce them. Power is often linked to political position, wealth, or social influences. Example, government leaders, CEO, or influential community figures. Now let's talk about prestige. Prestige refers to the respect, admiration, or honor a person receives from others. It is not always tied to wealth or power. Some professions like teachers or doctors, they have high prestige even if they are not the richest. Prestige can come from achievements, moral characters, or cultural importance. Now let's proceed with wealth. Wealth is the total value of what a person owns, including money, property, businesses, and investments. It is a major determinant of one's social position because it provides access to better education, healthcare, and lifestyle. Wealth is different from income. Income is what you earn regularly, while wealth is what you have accumulated. Now let's talk about the dimension of social stratification. According to Ariola, a person's position in the social hierarchy, whether in the upper social strata or the lower social strata, can be evaluated based on the following dimension. First, source of income. The way a person earns their living greatly affects their social status. People who earn income from business ownership, investment, or professional careers can often viewed as higher in status compared to those who rely on low-paying, unstable, or annual labor jobs. The way a person earns a living is a strong indicator of their social status. Society often places higher value on resources of income that are stable, high earning, and independent. Individuals who earn through business ownership, investment, or high-level professional services are often viewed as a part of upper social strata. Those income comes from low-paying, unstable, or manual labor jobs are often seen as belong to lower strata, especially in their work offers little opportunity for advancement. For example, an entrepreneur who owns several businesses is likely to be placed in higher social hierarchy than daily wage worker with no job security. A steady and substantial income allows for better housing, education, and lifestyle, all of which reinforce higher social standing. Next is occupation. Occupation carry different level of prestige and economic rewards. Professional jobs, for example, doctor, lawyer, engineers, usually have higher status while unskilled or low-paying jobs tend to be associate with lower status. Occupation differ in both prestige and economic rewards. Professional and highly skilled jobs, such as doctor, engineers, lawyer, and architect, usually carry high prestige and income, which elevate one's social status. Unskilled or low-paying jobs, like street vendors or manual laborers, are often valued less in terms of social recognition, even though they are essential to society. For example, a lawyer working in a reputable firm is generally ranked higher in socially than a factory worker, even if they both work equally hard. Occupation is often the most visible indicator of a person's role and value in social hierarchy. This reflects society's value on certain type of work. Next is education. Education is one of the strongest indicator of social mobility. Higher educational attainment often leads to a better job opportunities, higher income, and more respect in the community. Education is one of the most powerful tools for social mobility, the ability to move up in social hierarchy. Higher education often leads to better paying jobs, more opportunities, and greater respect in the community. Lower level of education can limit job choices and keep a person in some same social level as their family background. Example, a person with a master's degree may able to secure a managerial position while some without formal schooling may have limited job option. Education equips people with knowledge, skills, and credentials that society values, making it a gateway to upward mobility. Next is the type of house or dwellings. The physical condition, size, and style of a person's home is often seen as a visible marker of social status. Large, well-maintained house in private subdivision or upscale neighborhoods are often associated with wealth and higher social standing. Small, makeshift, or poorly maintained dwellings often indicate limited financial resources and lower status. For example, living in a modern two-story home is an exclusive in an exclusive subdivision. Signals higher social standing compared to living in a shanty in a informal settlement. Housing reflects not just income, but also access to amenities, security, and comfort, all of which ba yan? All of which are tied to social rank. Now let's talk about location of residence. The geographic location and quality of one's neighborhood greatly influence perceived status. Residents in urban centers, business districts, or Gate communities are typically associated with high social strata because they offer better infrastructure, services, and prestige. Rural or underdeveloped areas, while not inherently negative, are often linked to lower strata in a society that values urban amenities. Example, living in high-end condominium in a prime city. Location is perceived differently from living a remote village with limited facilities. Location affect access to education, healthcare, job opportunities, and social networks, all of which contribute to social ranking. Next is kinship or family background. The reputation and influence and achievement of one's family can elevate or lower a person's social position. Being born in a well-known, wealthy, or politically influential family often leads to high social status, even without personal achievements. Families with wealth, political influence, or historical prestige pass this advantage to their children who automatically start a higher social level. Conversely, being born in a family with limited resources can make upward mobility more challenging. Family connection can open doors to opportunities, network, and privilege that are not easily accessible to others. For example, a child of a well-known politician or business tycoon is likely to be viewed as a high status even before achieving personal accomplishment. Now let's talk about types of social stratification and their characteristics. Social stratification system can be grouped into an open and closed types, depending on how easy it is for people to move between social levels. First, an open system. An open system of social stratification allows social mobility, meaning people can move upward or downward in the social hierarchy depending on their achievement, skills, education, or economic status or economic opportunity. Upward mobility happens when a person improves their social position. For example, a factory worker becoming a successful business owner. Next, downward mobility occurs when a person loses income, status, or influences. For example, a wealthy entrepreneur going bankrupt. In an open system, movement between classes is not only possible, but often encouraged as a sign of personal success and merit. Meritocracy is valued, common in democratic and capitalist society where education, entrepreneurship, and career growth are accessible. Example, the class system is most modern countries such as Philippines, United States, and Japan, where people can raise from the lower class to the middle to the upper class through hard work, business success, or higher education. Now let's talk about categories in the open system. First is the upper class. The upper class is made up of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in society. These are people who control significant economic resources, have extensive influence over political and social affairs, and often set trends and others follow. Example, business tycoons who own large companies and control major industries. Next is the political elites who hold or influence high government and positions. Celebrities, which significant earnings and public influence. Individuals who inherit large fortunes from wealthy families. Example in the Philippines, this could be include the owner of large conglomerates, members of political dynasties, and top entertainment figures who have amassed great wealth influence. Next is the middle class. The middle class is often considered the backbone of the economy because it, its members make up a large portion of the workforce and contribute significantly to economic growth through both labor and consumption. They generally enjoyed a compatible standard of living, but still aspire for great financial security and upward mobility. Samples: professional teachers, engineers, nurse, accountants, IT, and specialists. Another example is the business, small business owners, like entrepreneurs running retail shop, service businesses, or family enterprises. Skilled workers, like technicians, craftsmen, and other trained specialists. Managers and supervisors, those with those in the middle level, corporate or organizational position. Examples: in the Philippines, middle-class families have lived in secure subdivisions, sent children to private school, own a family car, and occasionally travel, but they still work hard to maintain or improve their standard of living. Last is the lower class. The lower class is composed of individuals and families with limited economic resources and often unstable living conditions. Many members of this class struggle to meet basic needs such as food, shelter, healthcare, and education. Their opportunities for upward mobility are restricted due to financial hardship and limited access to quality services. Examples: in the Philippines, the lower class may include families living in urban poor areas or rural farming communities with limited access to infrastructure and stable jobs. Now, let's proceed with the closed system. A closed system is a type of social stratification where social mobility is highly restricted. In this system, a person's status is usually determined at birth and remain the same for life. Movement between strata is rare or even impossible, regardless of a person's skills, education, or achievement. Characteristic of these closed systems are fixed social position, inherit from family or lineage, little to no mobility, hard or impossible to move to another social class, justified by traditions, religion, or law. Belief system or legal codes reinforce the structure. Endogamy. People are expected to marry with their own social group. Now let's talk about the different types of closed system. First is the caste system. The caste system is a rigid form of social stratification found in some traditional societies, such as historical India. In this system, a person's social position is inherent at birth and cannot be changed during their lifetime. Example, in traditional India, the caste system divides societies into groups such as Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, with the Dalits called untouchables outside the system. Next is the state system. Common in feudal Europe and some pre-modern societies. Societies is divided into states. Movement is rare and usually requires special privilege of or royal favor. Characteristics. Rights, duties, and privilege are tied to one's state. Strong legal and political boundaries. Now let's talk about the ethnic system. An ethnic system is a form of social stratification where race, ethnicity, or tribal affiliation is the main basis for ranking people in societies. A person's social position is assigned at birth according to their ethnic identity, making mobility between ranks are very limited or impossible. An ethnic system is based on race, ethnicity, or tribal affiliation as their main criteria for social ranking. Social position is assigned at birth based on ethnic identity. Movement between ranks is limited because ethnicity is unchangeable. Example, historical racial segregation in the United States or apartheid in South Africa. Sociologists explain stratification in two different ways. The two main perspectives is the functionalist and the conflict perspective. First, the functionalist perspective. This view says that stratification is actually necessary for society to work well. Think of society like a sports team. Not everyone can be captain, but the team needs skilled leaders, key players, and supporting players. Some jobs are more important and require special training, like doctors, engineers, or scientists, because these roles are hard to fill. Society gives them higher pay and status to encourage people to work hard to get them. In short, inequality exists to motivate people to perform the most important jobs and keep society running smoothly. And now, the conflict perspective. This view completely disagrees. It says stratification is not about what society needs. It's about who has the power. Think of like a game where the rules are made by people already winning. The rich and the powerful keep control over resources like money, education, and opportunities, making it hard for the poor to move up. Inequality, according to this view, is not fair or necessary. It benefits the powerful while keeping others at disadvantage. In short, inequality is the result of competition, exploitation, and the desire of the powerful to stay on the top. Social and political stratification is the structured ranking of people within a society based on the factors such as wealth, power, education, and prestige. Social stratification focus on the unequal distribution of resources, opportunities, and privilege among individuals or groups, while political stratification highlights the unequal access to political power, decision making, and influence. These systems have existed throughout history and are found in all societies, making them both universal and ancient. They also socially constructed, meaning they are created and maintained by people's belief, norms, and institution. Stratification can be open, where individuals have the ability to move between social rank, or closed, where movement is highly restricted or impossible. As in caste system, common forms include class system, caste system, and ethnic stratification. Key indicators of a person's position in the hierarchy include status, power, prestige, wealth, source of income, occupation, educational attainment, housing quality, geographic location, and family background. Understanding social and political stratification is important because it allows us to see how inequality shape people's life chances, opportunities, and voices in society. By becoming aware of this system, we can think critically about fairness, challenge discriminatory practices, and work toward a society that values quality and inclusivity. Social and political stratification is more than just a way of ranking people. It is a system that shapes our opportunities, limit, and life experiences. By understanding how wealth, power, and prestige and status are distributed, we became more aware of the forces that influence inequality in society. This awareness allows us to think critically, challenge unjust system, and works toward a fairer and more inclusive community. Remember, knowing where we stand in these hierarchies is the first step in shaping where we want society to go. Thank you for joining me in this discussion, and I hope these lessons inspire you to see beyond the layers and imagine a world where those layers are not barriers, but bridges. Don't forget to follow, like, and comment. See you in the next exciting topic in understanding culture, society, and politics.